this is your first time here, this video is a part of a longer series I'm doing where I'm learning Cammy in Street Fighter V, and sometimes we take those skills into other games. If you enjoyed today's video or any of the ones that I made in the past, please consider subscribing, and thank you so much for watching. Alright, so a full disclaimer before we start talking about DP shortcuts. I suggest that you don't rely on them too much and maybe only use them situationally if you need to do one in a pinch. Relying on them is kind of bad because not all games have the input leniency as Street Fighter V, so if you switch to another game and you're not used to DPing on reaction, it can kind of hurt you. There's only one shortcut that I really rely on every time, and I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. But the rest of them are pretty situational, and I don't tend to use them in game. I usually just do the normal DP input, but I thought they were pretty useful just to know. Obviously, some of these shortcuts are a little easier on hitbox and keyboard, but I'm going to show you some that work on stick, and then I'm going to show you one that I know that is exclusive to keyboard and the hitbox. And the reason why that is the way that SOCD cleaning works. So the way that right now I'm pressing left and right on my hitbox, but you can see the overlay only reads it as neutral. That's sort of why some things work on the hitbox and keyboard that don't work on a stick, because you can input two directions simultaneously and it reads it as neutral. Anyways, let's get started with the first one. This one's going to be down, forward, down, down, forward. So you're going to start something like this, and then you're going to do down, and then down, forward. So let's try it. And there it is. So I went from down, forward, and then I transitioned to down, and then down, forward, and it came out. Next, let's take a look at the walking DP. So sometimes I get this one when I'm trying to throw a fireball on accident. But this one's going to be forward, down, forward, forward. On the hitbox, you can just hold forward, and then do down, and then kick, right? But on a stick, you would just start forward, go to down, forward, then go forward, and press the kick button or the punch button, whichever one you're doing. Next, let's talk about the one that I rely on pretty heavily, and that is going to be the crosscut shortcut. And it should look something like that. Basically, all it is half circle back and then forward, which is really easy. Now, this is something that I might develop issues with, like I said, if I play another game and it doesn't let me do this. Alright, so let's talk about one hitbox exclusive or keyboard exclusive input that I know. I don't really use it too much because usually when I'm in this position, I'm down back, crouching and blocking. This one requires you to be holding down and forward. You could, roll. You could roll like this if you see them jump, but I usually try and stick to the normal input just because I'm trying to get used to DPing on reaction. But if you want to get into the hitbox dirt, you can hold down forward and then tap back and kick. And that'll give you DP every time. You can see the overlay kind of glitches, but whenever you see that front button flash like that, that's me pressing back. So right there I'm pressing back and kick, and I'm getting DP. This might help you a lot if you're getting started on the hitbox and you're not very good on player 2 side. I know it can be kind of hard to do DP on your ring finger. So that's one solution to it. Alright, let's switch to another game and see if some of these shortcuts work. Alright, so now to prove the point that you shouldn't become very reliant on these shortcuts because they're not going to transfer very well, let's try them in a game with a lot stricter execution and a lot less leniency in the system. So let's start with the down, forward, down, and then down, forward input. You can see it doesn't come out. Let's try the walking one. This one seems to come out in Grand Blue sometimes when I'm trying to throw a fireball as well. You can see this one doesn't work either. And just to prove that this character has a DP, you can see he has, 3 different ones it looks like. Next, let's do the down, forward, back, and then down, forward. The hitbox cheese. Let's try that. That one doesn't work either. Alright, now let's try the one that I said I relied on pretty heavily, which is half circle back and forward. It kind of works, it seems like. Let me mess around with it a little more. The timing does feel a little different, but this input feels like it works to an extent. Yeah, this one's going to take some messing around with, but I think it could work if I time it right. But it might be easier to just do crosscut, to just do the normal DP input.